You ever have that moment when your brain just shuts down mid-sentence?
Oh yeah, the classic language freeze. You know exactly what to say until it's your turn to talk.
That was me yesterday. I felt like a total failure, even though I practice every single day.
In that feeling, that's what we're diving into today. Why failure might actually be the best sign of progress.
Welcome to the English Blend.
Let's talk about success, failure, and how both are part of speaking English fluently.
Yes, we often mix up two key ideas, fluency and accuracy.
Right. When learners say, I want to be fluent, what do they usually mean?
They usually mean they want to sound perfect. They want 100% accurate grammar and pronunciation.
And that 100% accuracy is great, but it's not fluency.
No. Accuracy is about correctness, getting the verb tense right, using the correct preposition. It's about perfection.
And fluency?
Fluency is about communication. It's about smoothness and speed. Can you keep the conversation flowing? Can you get your point across?
That's our first useful phrase for today. Get your point across.
It means to successfully communicate your message, even if you make a few small errors.
For example, if I tell a cashier, I need change for the bus now, please, and they give me the right coins, I got my point across.
Even if you used need change instead of I require small denomination currency, which sounds much less natural.
Exactly. Fluency is the ability to navigate that interaction without freezing up.
So a successful conversation isn't defined by perfect grammar.
It's defined by successful transfer of information. Did the other person understand you? That's the measure of success.
And this is where the feeling of failure comes in, right?
Totally. People aim for 100% accuracy, but they only achieve 80%. They see the 20% mistake as failure, and they stop talking.
It's so sad because that 80% was functional. It was communicative.
But the brain focuses on the error. It says stop, correct the mistake, then speak.
And that pause, that correction loop, kills fluency.
It absolutely kills the flow. We call this grammar paralysis.
Let's discuss that grammar block in detail because it's a massive problem for A2 to B2 learners.
So why does grammar stop us from speaking?
It's because in school, we are taught grammar as a set of rules to be tested. We learn to analyze the sentence before we produce it.
We learn to treat English like a math problem. We have to check the formula before we give the answer.
That works for writing an exam paper. It does not work for ordering a sandwich in a hurry.
If you're at a cafe, you don't have time to conjugate the verb to want in the past perfect continuous.
You just need to say, I wanted coffee, please, or even just coffee, large, please, and point. That is high-level fluency.
High-level communication, anyway. But seriously, the grammar block happens because your analytical brain is fighting your conversational brain.
It's the constant self-correction. We're constantly thinking, wait, was that simple past or present perfect?
And while you are having that internal argument, the native speaker has already moved on to the next topic.
Exactly. They said 2 full sentences while you were deciding if you needed have been doing.
So the goal is to practice speaking so much that the grammar rules become automatic, like riding a bike.
We need to stop seeing mistakes as failures. We need to see them as data.
Data that shows you tried and successfully communicated 90% of the idea. The 10% is just feedback for next time.
That brings us to a useful mindset shift. Instead of aiming for perfect accuracy, aim for comprehensible output.
As long as the listener understands the main idea, you win. That is success.
Think about native speakers, Leo. Do we speak perfectly all the time?
Never. We interrupt ourselves. We use fillers like and We start a sentence one way and finish it another.
We definitely make grammatical errors when we are speaking quickly or casually.
Especially when we are excited or telling a funny story. The focus is on the story, not the prepositional phrase.
So if native speakers aren't 100% accurate, why do learners demand 100% accuracy from themselves?
It's often linked to performance anxiety, the fear of being judged.
That anxiety is so strong, it makes people completely silent. They prefer silence over a minor mistake.
But silence is the actual failure in communication. A mistake that gets your point across is still a win.
Let's talk about a specific personal story here, a short cultural note about communication success.
Please do. I love hearing examples.
I was traveling in Japan a few years ago. I don't speak Japanese, maybe 10 words.
That's tough when you need help.
I was trying to find a specific small hidden coffee shop. I went into a convenience store and tried to ask the clerk.
How did you manage that?
I used my 10 words, lots of pointing, drawing a tiny coffee cup on my notepad, and repeating the name of the shop with the correct pitch, hoping for recognition.
So lots of gestures, tone, and limited vocabulary.
Exactly. My language was maybe A1 level in terms of vocabulary and grammar, but the clerk understood.
And what did the clerk do?
She spent 5 full minutes drawing me a map with little landmarks. She was so helpful.
That's a huge success. You achieved your goal, finding the coffee shop.
My grammar was terrible. My pronunciation was probably awful, but I got my point across because I was brave enough to try.
That story proves the point perfectly. Fluency is communication, not perfection. You used all the resources available to you.
And the clerk focused on understanding, not correcting my pronunciation. That's how real conversations work.
So the immediate feeling of failure, oh, I didn't say that sentence perfectly, needs to be reframed as, I completed the transaction. I won.
That's the key mindset shift. Now, how do we actually train ourselves to stop relying on grammar rules in real time?
We need practical steps. We need to build automaticity.
Let's move on to our practical tips section. We have 3 or 5 really strong steps here.
Tip number 1, and this is crucial, is massive input.
Massive input sounds intense. What does that actually mean for our learners?
It means consuming English content relentlessly, reading, but especially listening.
Lots and lots of listening, like watching YouTube, like listening to this podcast?
Exactly. Listen to everything. Podcasts, movies, music, news, all the time, even if you don't understand 100%.
Why is that so important for fluency?
Because your brain needs to hear the correct patterns thousands of times before it can produce them naturally.
So when I try to speak, the correct structure just pops out because I've heard it so many times.
You're not recalling a grammar rule. You're recalling a sound pattern. You're recalling a chunk.
Which brings us to tip number 2, learn in chunks.
This is huge. Don't learn individual words. Learn word groups that go together naturally.
For example, don't just learn the word depends. Learn the chunk it depends on.
Or don't just learn the word time. Learn, do you have time for a coffee? Or it's about time that... Yes. If you learn English sentence by sentence, you're trying to build the entire wall every time.
But if you use chunks, you're just placing pre-built panels. It speeds up production dramatically.
When you use a chunk, you don't have to worry about the grammar inside the chunk. It's already correct.
That instantly reduces the grammar paralysis we talked about. You know, that moment where you freeze up?
It stops that self-correction loop.
So, massive listening plus chunk learning. What's tip number 3?
Tip number 3 is the 3-second rule. This is specifically designed to combat the grammar block.
I love this one. How does it work?
When you are asked a question in English or you need to say something, you only have 3 seconds to start speaking.
3 seconds? That's not very long.
That's the point. If you wait longer than 3 seconds, your analytical brain, the grammar checker, jumps in.
And then you start planning a perfect sentence, and you freeze.
If you force yourself to start speaking within 3 seconds, you prioritize communication. You prioritize getting the sound out.
It doesn't matter if the first word is wrong. Just start the response.
Exactly. If you need to respond to, did you see that movie last night? Don't pause for 5 seconds to construct a perfect, I did, and I thought it was quite compelling.
Just say, movie? Yeah, I saw it. Or, no, I haven't seen it yet. Simple, fast, fluent.
The 3-second rule forces you to embrace imperfection. It makes you realize that it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake.
That's our second key phrase, Leo. Not the end of the world.
Meaning, don't panic. A mistake is not a disaster.
If you forget the past tense, the world will still spin. You can correct it later, or the listener will probably understand anyway.
It's a low-stakes environment. We need to treat conversation like practice, not like a final exam.
Okay, so that's massive input, learning chunks, and the 3-second rule. Do we have a couple more?
Yes. Tip number 4, repetition and personalization.
Repetition is how skills become automatic.
Pick 3 to 5 phrases or chunks you learned this week. Use them in 3 different contexts today.
So if I learned the chunk, I'm looking forward to.
You could use it talking about work. I'm looking forward to the meeting ending. You could use it talking about dinner. I'm looking forward to pizza tonight. And talking about learning. I'm looking forward to speaking English fluently.
You are drilling the pattern into your brain through real use. That's much better than flashcards.
And make them personalized. The more the sentence relates to your real life, the easier it is to remember and recall quickly.
And our final tip, tip number 5, find a low-stakes conversation partner.
Practice needs to be gentle at first. Don't start by trying to negotiate a complicated contract with a native speaker.
Find a study buddy or a teacher or even a trusted friend who is learning too. Someone who understands that you are prioritizing fluency over accuracy.
Someone who won't stop you every 2 seconds to correct your grammar, because that just reinforces the self-correction habit.
The goal is quantity of conversation, not quality of grammar. Say a lot of things, even if they are simple.
That brings us back to our theme. You must accept making mistakes. Mistakes are proof that you are trying.
And if you hit a wall, if you feel stuck or discouraged,
That's our third key phrase. Hit a wall means suddenly being unable to make progress. You reach a point where you feel you can't improve anymore.
everyone hits a wall, even native speakers learning a new skill.
It means you need to change your approach, not that you are a failure.
Maybe you need to switch from reading books to watching films, or maybe you need to take a small break.
It's an opportunity to adjust the plan. It's not the end of the world.
We learned 3 key phrases today. First, get your point across. That's the measure of success.
Second, remember that if you make an error, it's not the end of the world. Don't stress about the small stuff.
And third, if you feel discouraged or stuck, you might have hit a wall. Use that moment to change your study methods.
And for practical training, remember these steps.
Number 1, massive input. Listen constantly to build those automatic patterns.
Number 2, learn in chunks. Use those pre-built phrases to speed up your speaking.
Number 3, practice the 3-second rule. Force yourself to start speaking quickly.
Number 4, repetition and personalization. Use your new chunks in real, relevant scenarios.
And 5, find a low-stakes conversation partner. Just talk, talk, talk.
The most important thing is daily practice. Even 5 minutes a day makes a huge difference.
Consistency beats intensity, always. Don't wait for perfection to speak.
Start speaking now, even if you make small mistakes.
Exactly. Use that imperfect speech to improve tomorrow.
Speaking of tomorrow, next time we're going to dive into the best resources for finding natural English listening content.
That sounds like a great episode. You won't want to miss it.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the English Blend. Keep practicing, keep communicating.
That was a great talk.
Yes, see you in the next episode of the English Blend.